Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today we are going to do the analysis and overview of LR Omega Shenron. On the left side of the screen there should be, as always, the gameplay. We did two fights, the Goku Black and Zamasu fight and the Blue Goku fight, because I wanted first to show the Blue Goku fight. To me is a very good showcase fight because it's long, but it's not really hard anymore, so you can just show what the characters can do in like 10 turns worth of event. And the Rose and Zamasu fight is probably the hardest fight in the game, so it's a good combo of a very easy situation and kind of a long fight, and a very tough situation and a short fight. So I think that was ideal. Just before starting, I want to remember to everyone who might watch this video that this is meant for newer players. So it's just if you know the game, this is probably not going to be too useful. I mean, you can still learn something, but it's not like you will probably understand the game enough to just read and understand what the unit does. This is more so for helping a new player who just wanted to start in the global Dokkan celebration and sees these gigantic walls of text, just to explain it to him. So let's start. The leader skill, word shrouded in evil power. We have inhuman deeds, power absorption, or GT bosses category, keep free 200% HP and 170% attack and defense. And then the other 50%, the extra 50%, is for Shadow Dragon Saga, Worldwide Chaos, or Battle of Fate. So Omega's leader skill is really good. It can use some help, but between inhuman deeds and power absorption, you have like grade 8 Vegeta. So a new Saiyan Saga Vegeta will be there. We have power absorption, so we have the Majin Boos. For example, a new Fat Boo who reverts into Kid Boo with some mechanic will be there. Cell will be there. So we have like Super 17. Some androids is also there. And of course we have GT bosses with Baby, Rildo. So the team can get some buff. It's not like a dead team. Like, even if it's at the strongest now, it's a solid leader skill for B-lanes. The passive skill, diabolical abilities. We have the entrance animation when all allies are extreme class. So you just need to have the team full of extreme class allies. We give extreme class allies 20% chance to crit, and Omega changes tech or AGL key spheres to rainbow for one turn. So the first turn you have 20% chance to crit. This is added, so like LR Rose Goku Black, he has 60% chance to crit if you have his full passive. If you also have Omega on the rotation, it will have 80% chance to crit. And he randomly changes either tech or AGL into rainbow. And then he launches an additional super attack, and extreme class allies get 2 key and 70% attack for 4 turns. So when Omega pops the intro, and you have to consider, this is a leader. So if you have double Omega, you have the intro. For the first 4 turns, your extreme class allies will have key 4 and 140% attack. So Omega can really juice the numbers at the start of the fight. Then the basic effects, we have 3 key, 300% attack and defense, key +1 per key sphere, so this works with both rainbow or type key sphere. 50% damage reduction, and then he changes physical or int key spheres to rainbow. So turn 1 he will change AGL or tech and physical or int into rainbow key spheres. He will double or change. And there's a reason why. because with a rainbow key sphere obtained, Omega gives extreme class allies 70% defense and then an additional 10% damage reduction for GT bosses for 2 turns. Now, I just want to explain something. It's not very useful, we probably never will, but just for the wording. Since it says character who also belongs to the GT bosses category, it means that they have to be extreme first to get the buff. This means that if theoretically we get, for example, a Goku and Nova Shenron tag unit, and they are on GT heroes and GT bosses, but they are super class, so the unit starts with Goku. 4th turn, he can exchange with Nova Shenron. It's just an example. That character will not get the damage reduction, even if it's a GT bosses category, because they are not extreme, like, to start with. Because the buff is extreme class allies 70% defense, comma. Then they get the damage reduction for a character who also belongs, so they need to also be GT bosses. If it was worded like extreme class allies 70% defense for 2 turns, and then there was another line, GT bosses category allies 10% damage reduction for 2 turns, then they will get it. But since it's worded like this, the unit has to be both extreme class and GT bosses to get the buff. So this will probably not matter in the future, it's just this one example I can think of. Anyway, when attacking, Omega Shenron gets 150% attack, and oh, before I forgot, the defense is also for 2 turns. It's just how it worded, it seems like the defense is for 1 turn and the damage reduction is for 2. No, the buff are both for 2 turns. So, when attacking, 150% attack. This will trigger regardless of key, regardless if you're sealed. When you attack, you will get it. Then, when key is 18 or more, so for this you need to reach a certain key, you get another 150% attack when attacking, and 150% defense when receiving an attack. This is crucial, but it doesn't matter how bad the orbs are, you will get 18 key with Omega. Like, to miss it, you have to literally use him without a leader skill. So when key is 24, he guaranteed crits. So the first 4 rotation, if you have 24 key, Omega will do 2 super attacks guaranteed, and both are guaranteed crits. The first turns, Omega will do insane damage. Then when receiving an unarmed super attack, which I did go into the Blue Goku fight even for this, because we got this nullification like 10 times in the video. We have a great chance, 70% chance, as I show it, of nullifying and countering with tremendous power, and then he nullifies it and counters with tremendous power when HP is 70% or less. The only difference is that if you're below 70% HP, it's guaranteed. So no matter what, if your HP are low, you will nullify unarmed supers. And nullification works even through dodge cancelling. So Goku dodge cancels. You cannot dodge his normals. But the nullification will work against the supers. So that's very important. So then we have the second page. After performing 5 or more attacks in battle, this can be either supers or normals, extreme class allies get 2 key and 20% chance to crit. So we just get the intro buff again with a 20% chance to crit, and also the tech and AGL orb changing starting from the character's next attacking turn. So this means turn 1 you have Omega, you do the regular super attack, then you get the additional super for the intro, so this, and after this you can get the hidden potential. So we have 3 attacks at the moment. We get on turn 3, we do the third attack, let's say the fourth attack. Let's say we get hidden potential turn 1. Fourth, fifth. Omega cannot change the orbs during the turn. So he will change it on the next one. But the crit support will trigger right away. So that can help maybe the second attacker in a turn to get more crit chance. So we have the super attacks. 12 key is the Dragon Flash Bullet, which gives 30% defense for one turn. It's a regular race. Causes colossal damage to the enemy and greatly lowers attack and defense, also by 30%. So the wording is different, and we can see it on the 18 key. Greatly raises defense for 4 turns. It's a 50% raise. But when we greatly lower attack and defense to the enemy, it's a 30%. That's because the game considers it in a different way. For example, when we just lower attack and defense to an enemy, it's a 20% lowering. So if the kit says lowers attack and defense, it's a 20%. If it says greatly lowers attack and defense, it's a 30%. If it says massively lowers defense, it's an 80%. While for our characters, when it just says raises attack and defense, it's 30. When it says greatly raises attack and defense, it's 50. When it says massively, it's 100. So there are different percentages for basically the same thing. That's just how the game works. So the 18 key, the Demon Death Ball. 50% defense for 4 turns, mega colossal damage to all enemies. So if you're facing 2 enemies, for example, Goku Black and Zamasu, we are going to hit both with this. And then we disable enemy actions once within the turn. Basically this, for those who don't know, the first attack of the enemy hit by this super attack will get broken. So let's say Omega is in slot 2, there's one attack there, and let's say it's a super attack. If you do the 18 key with Omega Shenron, he's going to break it, so the enemy will not attack. It's a very powerful ability. Then we have the active skill, the Devastating minus energy. The condition is basically, there's no condition if you're using Omega, because can be activated when there is another Inhuman Deeds, Power Absorption, or GT Bosses category ally attacking in the same turn. If the category sounds familiar, it's because it's literally his leader skill. Inhuman Deeds, Power Absorption, GT Bosses. Basically, if you're running Omega, it doesn't matter who you're putting on the team, because he has one of these 3 categories, so Omega will get the active right away. It literally doesn't matter. Or, after the character performs 5 or more attacks in battle. So, let's say again, turn 1, you can do 3, turn 2, you can do 3, so it's basically the third rotation of Omega if you get even one hidden potential system attack. If you don't, then it's the 4th turn, because then you do the 5th and it's on turn 5, and then it's turn 7 when you can activate the active skill. But again, this is, if you're running Omega, you have the active skill turn 1, like it doesn't matter. The effect is that Omega Shenron creates the domain Earth Shrouded in minus energy for 3 turns. So, one thing with the domain, and if you're using Omega, you are probably seeing it, you cannot use more than one domain at a time. So even if you have, let's say your Omega Shenron is in turn 1, you pop the domain, it's all good, you go on the 2nd rotation, your other Omega Shenron cannot use the active, even if the condition is fulfilled. So you have the character on rotation. Omega's there, you cannot do the domain again. and get the buffs. Domain works only once at a time. So this is really bad for characters who need the domain, for example, to transform, like the 9th anniversary Broly or the physical Goku Black. So the effect: Inhuman Deeds, Power Absorption, or GT bosses get 25% attack, but also the enemies on said categories. So every Rose Goku Black, Zamasu, Cell, Majin Buu, well, most of them, Saiyan Saga Vegeta, Baby, Super 17, every character that is on these categories, even as an enemy, will get their attack increased. But it's not just a 25% attack for our characters. 25% attack for a domain or an active skill is huge. It's like game changing because it's calculated in a separate way. Then increases the damage received by superclass enemies by 20%. So it's basically just, if the enemy was going to receive 100 damage, when you do the domain is 120, 20% more. Of course, you understand that when you do 1000 damage, they're going to receive 1200 because it's 20%. So it's just, when you consider the number that our characters are hitting, this is huge. And then another 10% of damage received for characters who also belongs to the Earth Protecting Heroes, Fuse Fighters, or GT Heroes. This is the same wording for the Rainbow Key Sphere buff. So just to swap it, if they release Nova Shenron, tag Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and they are extreme, and they are on GT bosses and GT heroes, they will not get attacked by this condition whatsoever because they are extreme class by default. So the super class enemy part will not hit. They also belong to the GT heroes category, but since they are not super class, this entire part of the domain will not even start. So always be careful when you read characters kit. Then I showed the link skills: Brutal Beatdown, Big Bad Bosses, GT, Fear and Fate, Shadow Dragon, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power. And I just show level 1 and level 10 because I think that's like the most you want to see. Because like from level 1 to 10, it gets progressively better. So it's just, you can see the maximum you can reach and the minimum you will always start. Then we have the categories: Inhuman Deeds, Power Absorption, GT Bosses, Shadow Dragon Saga, Worldwide Chaos, Battle of Fate, and Full Power. So, as I did for Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, the Blues, and Rose, I will not give my opinion on this video. This is not my analysis of the character to like a subjective point. I'm not going to say, oh, I think he's second, third, fifth, whatever. That doesn't matter. This is literally just, I want to know how the character works, and it's just an objective analysis of the character. Now, before ending the video, because I think I forgot something really essential, just to mention it, because if you read Omega Shenron kit at the start, you will think, yes, 50% damage reduction, and you will think that's okay. For tanking nowadays, you need just a bit more. Remember that with a Rainbow Key Sphere obtained, you will get this 10% damage reduction for 2 turns. So if you have double Omega Shenron will have 70% damage reduction. And you will always give Extreme Class allies 140% defense if you have double Omega. If you have 1 Omega, it has 60% damage reduction and is giving the Extreme Class allies 70% defense. So remember always to it's essential, give Omega Shenron a Rainbow Key Sphere no matter what. You must give him a rainbow key sphere every single rotation ever. One. And I think that ends the video because there's not like more to show, and I think the gameplay should not be done, so we just continue on the normal side of the screen. But this was the Omega Shenron analysis and overview. I hope it can help someone. And today Dokkan revealed the new LR, Gohan, Goten and Trunks. I don't know if I'm going to do a video for them, just because I feel they are an EX part character, the hype is not really high, and they're ending the celebration, so it's less likely that people will start to play the game at the end of a big celebration. So I don't know if it's really worth it. I will probably judge based by how this video goes, but I don't really know. Anyway, thank you everyone if someone is watching it, and I see you guys in the next video. Bye.
にこの星ごと吹き飛ばしてやる。この星もろとも消えてなくなれ。